Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. One quick announcement. I don't know where you all have parked the cars, but the Walgreens manager, they came up, they were saying that there's too many cars there. So if any one of us have parked there, we should be moving it. There is a, I mean, they'll tow it otherwise. So just make sure that your car is not parked there. And sorry for all the delay. This program actually was clashing with the event. So we decided to start a little late, but Prabhuji is on the way, and we'll start in the next 5 minutes. So apologies for all the delay. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so please, if you can all move a little ahead, that way, I'm sure there'll be a lot of devotees who will join a little late. So just so that we accommodate more devotees, there is enough space here. If you don't mind, like keep moving a row or two ahead. Really appreciate your help on that. Thank you. Yeah.
Is your car still parked at Walgreens? Okay, because if it is, unpark it now!
We should start the feedback.
Now!
Gaurav. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Okay. Yeah. Here you can give it a here, I think.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
That is cutting the writing above. It's cutting, full is not coming.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. बस 2 मिनट एंड कर दे. जय राधा कालचंजी, राधे
Radha Kalchandra, Radha Kalchandra.
जय राधा कालचंजी, राधे जय राधा गोविंद, Prabhupada. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol.
Gaura Hari Bol. The end. Harigopavna Harinama Sankirtan ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Srila Prabhupada ki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuhuvanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this is the topic for this evening, rising above hatred and learning art of forgiveness. I'm very happy to be here in Dallas with a very vibrant community here of Radha Kalchanji. I have a list of lecture topics, but our devotees have chosen this one. I also agree that this is a very important topic for devotees especially, because unless we learn the quality of compassion and forgiveness, we cannot chant the holy names peacefully. So these pastimes are all well known to all of you. The pastime of Dhruva, Parikshit, Garuda and Ambarish, but I will still say in a few words the point that led them to a situation where they could have developed hatred, but they preferred not to allow the hatred to rule their hearts. Rather, they allowed Krishna to rule their hearts, by which they developed forgiveness. I am sure every one of us sitting here, some situations in life will arouse hatred in our heart. At that point of time, we can remember these pastimes. So many people ask questions, do you mean to say we have to go on tolerating? So therefore, this question is an important question. Some of you might not have heard the details of the pastime, so I am going to tell you briefly about each of this. Dhruva and Uttama, they were like two sons of two mothers. Dhruva was son of whom? Suniti. And Uttama was son of Suruchi. As the name suggests of these two queens, Suniti means she was very morally, ethically right always. And Suruchi was very beautiful. But she had no good qualities, and she was like harsh of speech. So those two queens were queens of one king called Uttanapada. So one day, when one of the boys, Suruchi's son, wanted to sit on the lap of the father, on the other lap, Dhruva wanted to sit. Is there anything wrong? Both are his sons, both have the right to sit. But this lady felt some insecurity. she thought that if her son, my co-wife's son, sits on the lap, what separates the boy and the throne is the lap. Which means she thought that maybe tomorrow there may be a competition for the throne. So she thought, better not allow him to sit on the lap of the father. So she spoke very harsh words to him and said, you are not born from my womb, so get out of here. If you want to sit, you have to die and be reborn from my womb. Then only you can sit. Like that she said. Very cruel statement to a child. So the child was like shattered. So he went to his mother. His mother taught him two very vital lessons which we all can take home. One lesson is, my dear child, anybody does any blunder in this world, there is always God who is a witness. And God will be there to punish them. You don't have to punish anybody. You don't take any vengeance or revengeful attitude in your heart. You forget about this incident and focus on your progress. In case you are desirous of a kingdom like your father, I can tell you there is one person who can award kingdom to anybody, she said. Lord Vishnu gave the kingdom to your father Uttanapad and his father Swayambhamanu and his father Brahma. So the same Lord can also give you kingdom if you want. Intelligence means to surrender to the Lord and get what you want. You don't have to envy anybody or have any revenge for anybody. Think about your progress in life. Don't think about hurting someone. Very good advice it is. Even today, in the modern day society, in many situations, some people behave in a way irritating to you and you want to retaliate back. Lot of energy will be wasted. Somebody, say, mocks at you, ridicules you, ignores you, taunts you, is critical of you, gives feedback about you, gossips about you. So one of our first responses would be to react violently. How dare you say that, and to who all you said it? I will go and clarify to each and every one of them, but what you said is wrong, what I am, I will prove to them. If you get into this mode, you will not get your night's sleep. We are going to be disturbed by it. So think about it in your life. Imagine somebody is talking ill of you to several people and you have to clarify to all those several people how difficult it is. To who all he spoke, we don't know. And chasing after people to clarify would be difficult. So therefore she said, my dear child, first thing she said, don't harbor any malice in your heart for anybody, because that is very dangerous thing. That's called hatred. Don't keep hatred or revengeful thoughts towards anybody. I heard a story in my school days. One teacher, she told the children, tomorrow when you all come to school, everybody should bring some tomatoes with you. Children asked, how many tomatoes, madam? She said, as many people whom you hate, that many tomatoes. So some children brought 2, some brought 5, some brought 8. Some of them brought as many as 20. You know. And she said, put them all in a bag and bring with you. And you can keep with you. And then they all brought next day. So everybody wanted to go to madam and give those tomatoes. She said, no, not yet. Just keep it with you. Wherever you go, you have to carry it with you. She said, you should always have it in a school bag. You should carry it. So they carried it for a day, for 2 days. So as time passed, 1 week passed, now the tomatoes started rotting. They started smelling also. So children asked them, ma'am, it's getting rotten now, please take it. She said, no, not yet. Keep it with you. Whenever I want, I will ask you. So now 2 weeks passed, it started terribly stinking. So now the children who had the maximum tomatoes, they found it very heavy also to carry and more stinking also than others. They became restless. They plucked their nose and ran to the teacher, ma'am, enough now. Either you take it or please allow us to throw it, they said. She said, now you learn the lesson, she said. Hatred is like that. If you have hatred for anybody, it makes your heart heavy and it also makes your heart stink. And even you cannot tolerate, others cannot tolerate. You become very ugly. On the other hand, if you allow love of God to rule your love of God and love for all, if that is ruling your heart, that will actually make your heart like a swab of cotton. It will make it very light. And also you will become happy, you will be a spreader of happiness. You will spread happiness to others. Like that she taught. So the children immediately realized it, how nasty the heart becomes when you hate others. We learned how not to hate others. Actually, our moral science madam, this is how she used to teach many times. One day she gave all of us this apple balloon. You know apple balloon? It's like a big apple it looks. And then she tied it to all our back with a thread like this. And she gave everybody a needle also. Keep the needle with you and keep the balloon with you. Although she never told us anything, any instruction, children started pricking others' balloons. Pat, 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 pat. It started exploding. Madam said, stop, stop, stop. Then she asked, when did I tell you to prick? And the children also wondered, yeah, that's true. We never heard you say that, but some of you were inspired to prick. When you see others having a balloon, immediately you want to prick. You have the tendency. Then she said, this is the fault-finding mentality. She said, we have a tendency to go behind somebody and always point out, say, you have this problem, you have this problem, you have this problem. We don't see we also have another problem behind us. We don't see that. So we all hurt each other's ego, she was telling. We hurt each other by pricking other people unnecessarily. So the same lesson Dhruva's mother is teaching. My dear child, don't, think of others with a paradigm of hatred. If hatred rules your heart, you will not be happy. You cannot make others happy too. So don't harbor any malice. And then she also said something very positive. Because, if you don't think of that person whom you consider as enemy in your heart, you cannot keep quiet. Thoughts will again and again come. Therefore, she gave something very positive. The positive is go to the forest, meet the saintly people, understand about Lord Vishnu, worship him. And then when Lord Vishnu entered the heart of Dhruva, his heart became flooded with love. He became a pure devotee. And no more hatred. All hatred evaporated. Just like these tube lights are on, so all the darkness is finished. His heart, prema bhaktiyaha hoite avidya vinashajat. Dhruva became very, very happy. When he returned back, he offered obeisances to stepmother Suruchi also. See, to do namaskar to someone whom you hate, is it very easy? But he did that because the hate was no more there. When Dhruva was subjected to anger by Suruchi, at that time there is an explanation given in the Bhagavatam. It says, if you trample upon a snake with boots, like that the snake will raise its hoods and want to bite you. Like that, Dhruva Maharaj was like that. Like that he got wild angry. His eyes were bloodshot, lips were quivering, body was trembling, he was breathing heavily. So his tears were called as hot tears, because angry tears. And the body was trembling, seething with anger. Any of you felt such anger? It's very dangerous for the health also. Our blood pressure will rise if you become angry like that. It is not at all good. Sometimes your hands are trembling because you want to beat somebody. Therefore the body is trembling. But later when he saw Lord Vishnu, Yonta pravishya mama vatam imam prasuptam sanjeevayatta kila shakti dharaswadhamna anyasta hasta charana shravanatvagadin prana namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam bhaktim muhu prabhagatam tvayime prasango bhuyadananta mahatam amalashayanam yenanta solbanamuru vyasanam bhavabdhim neshye bhavat gunakatam mritapanamattah. In these two verses, Dhruva is telling, my dear Lord, after seeing you and getting the touch of the shank, the conch on my head, my whole body has become electrified, he says, spiritualized. My hands, my legs, my face, especially my tongue, he says. My tongue has become purified. It's just like an iron rod put in fire. Like that I become purified. I am able to utter verses in glorification of you, rather than utter some bad words against the stepmother. I have forgotten the envy and hatred for her. Rather, my heart is filled with appreciation for you and adoration for your beauty and glory. And in this way, Dhruva Maharaj told the Lord that now you will return back to Vaikuntha, but I want association of your devotees like Narada, who will always remind me of you. So give me association of such devotees. That's all he asked. He didn't ask for anything else. So you can see Dhruva's behavior after seeing. Now also he had tears in his eyes when he saw Vishnu. But these tears were what tears? Cold tears. Earlier it was hot tears. Now also his body was trembling, but in ecstasy. Loving ecstasy. His lips were quivering. Not because he wanted to say bad words. He wanted to glorify the Lord with some Sanskrit poetry. So same, externally same behavior, but the mood is different. Earlier the mood was one of anger and hatred and revenge. Now the mood was full of love, like that. So once His Holiness Romapad Maharaj spoke a lecture in Mayapur. I got to hear that. There he made a nice comparison between, Dhruva and Dhritarashtra. So Maharaj was telling, both these people were attached to getting a kingdom. Now you all tell me, out of the two, who wanted a bigger kingdom? Dhritarashtra or Dhruva? Dhruva. Because Dhritarashtra wanted only earthly kingdom. Dhruva wanted a kingdom bigger than Brahmaji also. Can you imagine, is there anybody who can get bigger than Brahma? Brahma's kingdom, Satyaloka also. So his greed was too much, Dhruva's. But at the end of the day, if you see, Dhruva became pure devotee and Dhritarashtra didn't become. And he is asking the reason why. Here comes a very important reason which is explained in the Mahabharata. One time, Akrura came to Hastinapur, and Akrura told Dhritarashtra, don't be so partial towards your sons due to attachment for Duryodhana. Otherwise, great misfortune will befall upon Kuru dynasty and everything will be vanquished. Be thoroughly honest. The kingdom doesn't belong to you. The kingdom belongs to Pandu. So Pandu's sons should rule. So Pandu's first son, Yudhishthira, should be made the heir apparent, which means Rajakumar. Not your son. It's very strongly Akrura spoke. Then immediately Dhritarashtra called for a meeting of 15-20 leaders and announced it also. That today we announce that Yudhishthira Maharaj will be the Rajakumar. Eventually will be posted as the king. He announced it. And as soon as the announcement was done, some 3-4 people like Shakuni, Duryodhana, Dushasana and Karna, these 4 are called Dushta Chatushtayam. These 4 people slipped out of the meeting and had a small little conference in another room. And Duryodhana asked, uncle, what is happening? He's announcing Yudhishthira as the Rajakumar. What about me? And then Shakuni said, you see, I also have heard now we have to hatch a plot by which, we can change the situation. And they started discussing politics. Shakuni asked, what about Dronacharya? He said, no problem, Ashwatthama is my friend. Dronacharya is his father. So both are on my side, he said. What about Kripacharya? Kripacharya's sister is married to Dronacharya. So he will be on Dronacharya's side, which means he is also on my side only. Then he asked, what about Bhishma? He is a neutral party. Whoever is ruling, he will support. Then he asked, what about Vidura? That is one fellow, problematic fellow. He is a thorn in our dynasty. He eats our salt, but he always favors the Pandavas. And Shakuni said, somehow you have to find a way to eliminate him. And in this way they were talking about different people. And then Duryodhana asked, but what about my father? He is hell-bent on making Yudhishthira the king. Shakuni said, don't worry, he has attachment to you. You can use the attachment to blackmail him. And I will tell you what to do, don't worry. Then he called one so-called Brahman called Kapila, one Brahman. He told this Brahman, you should exactly do what I am telling you. If you do that, I will give you gold coins. Brahman asked, what? Now I will take you to Dhritarashtra and you should tell him that you destroy the Pandavas. So he bribed that so-called, Brahma Bandhu. And he took him. So now they went to Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana said, if you make Yudhishthira the king, I will consume poison and die. This is not the first time he is saying, Duryodhana. Several times he has told. When Dhritarashtra became frightened, when he told Vidura, my son is saying like this, Vidura said, wonderful, that's good news. Don't think he will so easily die. He is not so easily going to die. He is just saying to blackmail you, don't take his word seriously. But when Dhritarashtra heard it, his heart melted. He said, my son, he gave a lot of good advice to him. Son was not willing to listen at all. And then you can see, after he spoke to Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra said, I will take advice and then tell you. Final. So you know whom he called for taking advice? Do you know that? Anybody knows? You should call whom? Ideally. Vidura. Vidura taught him Vidura Niti and all, no? Instead of calling Vidura, he called Shakuni. Because he has to take advice. See, here comes the point. In our life also, when we want to do some wrong thing, we take advice from those who will give a go-ahead to us. Huh? So, then he called Shakuni and asked, Shakuni, my son is saying like this, what do you think I should do? Shakuni put that bogus Brahman in the front and said, you tell him. So he told Dhritarashtra that you destroy the Pandavas. Now Shakuni gave him some gold coins and sent him off. And then he told Dhritarashtra, see, even he is saying that. So you should do that. And Dhritarashtra became determined to destroy the Pandavas. So you will see that in Dhritarashtra's heart, he maintained a hatred for the Pandavas. And he maintained attachment to his own son, evil son, Duryodhana. Duryodhana is called as Krishna Dvit. Dvit means hatred. He is a hater of Krishna and his pure devotee is Pandavas. So, therefore you will see, there is one occasion which you read in Mahabharata. You all know Krishna came as a peace messenger, Shanti Dut. I will tell you one small section of that. When Krishna was about to come, Dhritarashtra called for a sabha, assembled everybody and said, because Krishna is coming for a peace message, we don't want peace message, we want the war. And we want to make sure we vanquish the Pandavas in battle. Therefore he said, my son Duryodhana, come here. Let's make a plan by which Krishna will agree to whatever we say. So if you say there should be war, he will agree for the war. So then he told his son, we have to pamper Krishna very nicely. When he comes, he said, let us give him a dozen costly woolen blankets. Let us give him half a dozen, elephants and a dozen golden steeds. Steeds means horses, drawn by, those are drawing a dozen golden chariots. And then he said, let dancing girls go and dance. Let them throw colors and dance and sing. Let the Brahmanas chant the Vedic mantras. Let all the people lit up on either side with lamps. And let them make toranam and everything, decorations. Let there be flags and festoons. Let all the people with Jai Jaikar for Govinda. Let them welcome Lord Krishna. With all these things, and also make sure you give Krishna Navaratnas like pearls and jewels and diamonds and rubies and everything in profuse quantities in charity. So when we give all these things, Krishna will consider the welcome very special. And then when he arrives at Hastinapur, give him the best of the palaces. Which is the best one? Dushasana's palace was the best one, most opulent one. So let that be reserved for Krishna. Like that he was telling our Dhritarashtra. So hearing that, Vidura came forward and said, hey brother, stop all this. You really want to please Krishna? Then you should do what he tells you. And Krishna knows what is dharma. If he tells you to stop the battle, you should stop the battle. That will please him, not all these items. You can't cheat him. He is not a small kid. You give some chocolate and pamper the child. He is he's a ocean of wisdom. He is the source of all knowledge for all living beings. He is Anantakoti Brahmanda Nayak. What does he not know? He is a witness in the heart of all living beings. Don't foolishly think that you can evade him like this. And Duryodhana said, yeah, that is true. He said, then we have to find out an alternative way. And then Duryodhana said, I know very well that the Pandavas are getting their energy only from him. If he is arrested and captured, the Pandavas will lose their power and they will again go back to forest or they will become our slaves. So the easiest thing to control the Pandavas is to capture Krishna, he said. When Bhishma heard it, he became very angry. He said, what are you talking? How foolish you are. You are going to capture Krishna? You don't know who he is. He is a supreme divinity. And then he told many of the pastimes that Krishna did, which are like he opened his mouth and showed the whole universe in the belly to Mother Yashoda. So Bhishma glorified Krishna and said, as long as this kind of sinful talks are going on, I don't even want to be here. He wanted to quit that place. But Duryodhana went ahead with his plan. He didn't listen to anybody. Even Dhritarashtra told him not to do. But then when Krishna arrived with Satyaki and Kritavarma at the palace on either side, when they entered, Duryodhana went to Krishna and said, "Hey Keshava, we have arranged a great lunch for you. Come, you can first take the lunch and then we can proceed for the meeting." Krishna said, "I have come with a mission. If my mission succeeds, then I will eat. If my mission doesn't succeed, I will not touch a grain here." Neither he said. Duryodhana said, "Why are you connecting the mission to this? We are offering you food with, for great affection. You are showing so much affection to Pandavas. Why don't you show the same affection to us?" Like that he asked. Then Krishna said, "See, you are a hater of the Pandavas, and who are my devotees. So therefore the food is contaminated by that hatred. So I will not touch a morsel of it unless you agree with the peace mission." So Krishna, even at that time, he told. And Krishna said, "Who will eat any food in anyone's house unless the food is offered with love, or the person who is receiving should be a hungry fellow? Neither am I hungry, nor are you offering with love. I will not even touch it. Rather, I'll go to Vidura's house and eat." Then you all know he went to Vidura's house. "Duryodhan ke bhog na khayo, रोक साक विदुर घर कायो, ऐसे प्रेम पुजारी राधे श्याम श्याम श्याम, माधव मदन मुरारी राधे श्याम श्याम श्याम, केशव कलिमलहारी राधे श्याम श्याम श्याम." So the same thing what I told you, this song says that, isn't it? So when they sat, Satyaki leaned to Krishna and said, "Hey Krishna, did you hear? Duryodhana has made some arrangement to arrest you." And Krishna laughed and said, "All the 33 crore devatas together cannot catch me. You think this tiny tot can do something? Let us see what he does." So as the peace mission was submitted by Krishna, at least 5 villages and all that he spoke, immediately the cage fell from the top and thousands of soldiers came from all sides to arrest Krishna. And Krishna showed a huge Vishwarupa form. From earth to sky, it was looking like Narayana, with 400 form. From his eyes, Arjuna and Balaram came and stood on either side. And behind him there were Pandavas. And shoulders there were Lokapalas, like Varuna, Indra, Vayu, Agni, such kinds of people on his shoulders. And all the devatas were showering flowers with folded palms. They were offering prayers. "Pahimam, Pahimam, Rakshamam, Rakshamam. Protect us, my Lord." Like that they were praying. And the oceans were having sky-rise tides, big tides. And the stars from the sky were falling down. Huge whirlwinds were blowing everywhere. So it was like 1,000 suns rising together when the Lord appeared like that. And Dhritarashtra cried out, he said, "Sanjaya, tell me what is happening? What is this loud noise coming? I'm hearing the chant of the Vedic mantras and, loud noises of the prayers of the devatas. What's happening?" Sanjaya narrated what's happening. Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, all great souls fell flat on the ground in Ashtanga Pranam. They were offering obeisances to Krishna. Dhritarashtra begged the Lord, "Please give me the eyes to see your beautiful form which you are showing to everybody." So Krishna said, "Tadastu." He got the darshan. And later Dhritarashtra told the Lord that, "Take away these eyes in which I have seen you, let me not see anything else." Then he became blind after that. So after all this display of Vishwarupa darshan was over, Krishna again sat back in his seat. And Duryodhana turned to Karna and asked, "What is the jadoo Krishna is showing?" Even at that time he could not surrender, you will see that. So he was a hater of the Pandavas. So he was hating Pandavas and Dhritarashtra was loving and attached to Duryodhana. So therefore what happened exactly in Dhritarashtra's heart was this. He developed the same hatred that Duryodhana had for Bhima. Duryodhana hated Bhima, so Dhritarashtra also hated Bhima. So Dhritarashtra was cultivating hatred and Dhruva was cultivating love. So we have to decide what we want to cultivate in our lives. Do you want to cultivate hatred or cultivate love? Although Dhritarashtra's desire for kingdom was not very big, as big as Dhruva, he did a big mistake by cultivating hatred in his heart. Therefore, whole dynasty of Kauravas got destroyed. You will see that. See, if you have a drum barrel in which you have put hay, you know the yellow hay? You fill it up, pack it with yellow hay. Just put one spark of fire inside that. The whole thing will be burned down. Similarly, Dhruva put Vishnu into his heart. Then all the hay like hatred, that was all burned down. Because Vishnu is pure and powerful. As Arjuna says, Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. So he's saying you are Pavitra, Lord is Pavitra. So if you are meditating on the Pavitra, then you become Pavitra also. If you are meditating on some hatred, then the hatred expands. Like a blotting paper, if you keep a ink pen, that spreads. Like that, whatever you focus on, mind expands it. If you focus on hatred, mind will expand. Whatever food you give the mind, mind will munch on it. And it will expand it. So therefore, our contemplation has to be pure. That is one lesson we learned from this pastime. So Dhruva became extremely forgiving. He forgave his stepmother. His father allowed him to go to forest. He didn't become angry on his father also. Again, when father came to pick him up, he went with the father back. He completely gave up hatred, Dhruva. So therefore, you will see, Dhruva could rise above hatred. Parikshit, I will show you the pastime, you can see here. Here is Parikshit. One day he went to the forest. You all are able to see that? Or we should switch off the light here a little bit? All right? Okay. So Parikshit was the king of the whole world. And he had a very great track record, you all know that. When Uttara, his mother, was carrying Parikshit in a room, Ashwatthama thought that this is the posthumous child, the last child in Pandava dynasty. He wanted to destroy that child. So what did he send? A Brahmastra he sent. So at that time Pandavas were all standing, but Uttara knew that Pandavas cannot take a very swift reflex action on the Brahmastra. She ran to Krishna. Krishna Krishna Mahayogya Deva Deva Jagat Pate Nanyam Tadabhayam Pashye Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Oh Krishna, when death has come so near, no one else can be taken shelter in this world other than your lotus feet. So I see only you as the recourse. So even I don't mind dying myself, but let this Pandava Shishu, child in my womb, the last child, let it be protected. Because he will perpetuate good work in this world, and he will do God's work in this world. So let him live, even if I have to die, I don't mind. That was her prayer. So that means Parikshit was protected in the womb of his mother by Lord himself, who carried a gada in his hand and went round and round protecting the child. Later on, the child came out, he was wondering, who was that person who was going around me? So he would go and look at the face of every man. He said, the same man, same man. He was doing Pariksha, so his name came to be called as Parikshit. Not only that, he was protected by Vishnu, so he's called as Vishnurat. He was called. So he's a great soul. His birth was like that. Later, when he grew up into youth, the kingdom of the whole world was given to him by inheritance. Now somebody may say, oh, he just inherited the worldly kingdom, he didn't work hard. It just came in his family lineage. Like that somebody may think. But that's not true. Because when he became the king, he gave a challenge to all the kings of the world. Is there anyone in this world who wants to fight with me and defeat me? You can take over the world kingdom from me. Like that he gave a challenge. How many times? 3 times. And all the 3 times, no king was having the guts to come forward. They knew the prowess of Parikshit. They all said, we are happy paying tax to you, sir, and we don't want to fight with you. Such was his prowess, Parikshit. So, by merit and by inheritance, he got the worldly kingdom in both respects. So, he was a very capable ruler. One day, Parikshit saw, he came to know that some people are breaking the 4 regulative principles. They are killing innocent creatures. Somebody is found to be beating a cow and a bull. So immediately he boarded his chariot and he wanted to go around and see, where is it happening? In my kingdom, nobody should be doing unruly activities. He was such a king, and he went and subdued Kali. He was about to cut off the head of Kali, but Kali surrendered to him. So he gave him some 4 places to reside. So you can see how powerful Parikshit was. Such a wonderful king, righteous king, devotee king. So when he would go place to place, many people would come and tell him, oh Parikshit, your grandfathers were such a pure devotees, Pandavas. like Yudhishthir and Arjun and Bhima. Saratya parashad sevana sakya dautya Virasananugamanastavana pranamat Snigdeshu pantashu jagat pranatim cha Vishnor Bhaktim karoti nripatis charana aravinde. What they are saying, people, your grandfathers practically attracted Krishna so much. Krishna became their Shanti Dut. Krishna became their protector. Krishna became their charioteer. Krishna became their friend. Krishna became their family member. Krishna became their beloved. So, when Parikshit would hear such glories of his grandfathers and Krishna, his hair would stand on end and tears will be welling up in his eyes because he was a pure devotee. As soon as he would hear anything about Krishna, he would immediately have tears in his eyes. He was such a lover of Krishna. So there was no blemish in the character of Parikshit. And he had no track record of offending any Brahmins in his life, ever. He was a pure devotee. But one day when he was going like this in the forest, in those days the kings would subdue the forest animals like tigers, lions, in case they increase in big number. Then they may pose a difficulty for the sages in the forest. So they would keep the population of the animals under control. So they would do hunting. And that is very... Kshatriyas are allowed to do that in order to be able to chase after the animals and see the blood, so that tomorrow they have to fight in the battle. Like that's what you are seeing here. And then he was very tired, he was sweating and thirsty. He came to the ashrama of Samik Rishi. So when he came near, he was surprised. The Rishi is just sitting. He is not even opening his eyes. He is not giving me a cup of water. He is not giving a sitting place. Prabhupada says that if somebody comes to your place, you make them, immediately offer them a seat, make them sit, give them a cup of water, bow down to them, speak some sweet words to them. And Prabhupada says, if you cannot do that, at least you can say some sweet words, he says. If you cannot even do that, you should loudly cry, Prabhupada says. I am not able to speak any good words to you. Like that. So, yeah, a guest should be received nicely. There is a verse by Prithu Maharaj and 4 Kumaras. In that, Prithu Maharaj is telling, if in any house they don't invite saintly devotees to do Krishna Katha or glorification of the Lord by Kirtana, if there is no Kirtana and there is no Katha going on in anybody's house, that house is compared to a sandalwood tree where the snakes live, it is said. Why? Sandalwood tree represents a very costly wood. And the snake represents envious mentality. So the members of the family are compared to envious people because they never think about their deliverance or others' deliverance. They are simply enjoying the sandalwood tree, which is compared to wealth and opulence. So in this way, the 4 Kumaras talking to Prithu, in that conversation you will read this. So every Grahastha devotee should think, let us call some devotees to our home, let us put up some kirtans, let us cook some prasad, and let us distribute prasad to the visitors, Vaishnavas who are coming. And in this way, let me purify my home. So in Pune, I always tell the congregation, one couple should invite 2 or 3 couples to their house, and they should have some little katha, and they can invite their friends. You give them prasad. Another time they will call you, you go to their house. Once in a month also, if you do that, they come to your house, you go to their house, then the friendships develop. Vaishnava friendships can be developed. Nowadays people fear about who will cook. Cooking becomes difficult. Okay, we will do catering from the temple. So even to cook for 10 people, people are crying with the nose nowadays. You know, actually, 2 decades ago, I have seen people cook for 200 people in one house, very happily, because they were delighting in service. They don't see it as a burden. Service is a privilege. Service is not a burden. Actually, women have capability, only they need the right attitude. If they have, they will happily cook. They will not mind it. And it is not every day. It's once in a while. So, the guest should be received very warmly, and one should make the guest happy. So, Parikshit was surprised. You know, I am king of the world coming, and king of the world is so neglected by the sage. Is he arrogant? Is he deliberately doing it? Thinking like that, he saw one dead snake. He picked it up and, you know, he became angry, and then he put it on the neck of the Samik Rishi. Actually, Prabhupada writes that this happened because of the will of the Lord. Lord wanted Parikshit to wind up his term in this world and return back to Godhead, because otherwise Kali cannot continue only. He was keeping Kali in bay. So Lord wanted to take back the king so that Kali can proceed with his work and finish the Kali Yuga term. So therefore Lord arranged for that. And then when he returned back, here comes the point. Parikshit repented and he understood that I made a mistake. I should not have put the death snake around the neck of the Rishi. And then he said, if any sharp has to come on me, any curse, let it come, and let it not affect my family members. I am ready to take the curse. Like that he was telling. At that time, the son of Samik Rishi, one of the Brahmin boys, he came to know that this king did like this. He put a dead snake around the neck of my father. He became extremely angry. And he spelled out a curse saying that, may this proud king who belongs to Kshatriya dynasty, they have become very proud against the Brahmana Kulam. Let him die within 7 days. And he cut his sacred thread and spelled out a curse. So he was actually a boy with unprincipled dealings, Prabhupada says. And he was immature and very proud, Prabhupada says, in the purport. So therefore he prematurely cursed the king without even considering the consequences of his curse. So, and then the Parikshit came to know that the curse has come on him. Within 7 days he has to leave the body. So what he did, immediately he went to the bank of Ganga. He left, renounced the whole world. Actually, he was powerful devotee who could have counter-cursed whom? Shringi. But did he do that? He didn't do that. Instead, he thought he's a small boy. Why should I curse him back? I think the Supreme Lord wants me to wind up my term in this world. So he went to the bank of the Ganges. And then he met all the sages. He spoke to them. Tammo payatam pradiyantu vipra ganga cha devi dritachitamishe Dijopasishtas kuhakastakshakova dashatvalam gayata Vishnu gatha. He's saying, my dear sages, I have nothing to worry now because I am sitting on the bank of Ganges, surrounded by all saintly devotees like all of you. And I am going to hear Vishnu Katha, Krishna Katha. In this situation, I am very confident that by this ambience, I am going to return back to Vaikuntha. So I have no fear at all. May that snake bird or whatever come and bite me in 7 days, I have nothing to fear. He became fearless. In this way, he bowed down to all of them and surrendered his life to them. He's a great king, noble king. We can see he forgave the boy. And then Shukadeva Goswami came. He heard the Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami. When the boy came back to the father, and then the boy cried out because of having committed the mistake by cursing. So there this verse comes. Please all of you repeat. Tiraskrita vipralabdaha shapta kshipta hadapi nasya tat pratikurvanti tad bhakta prabhavopihi. If devotees of the Lord, are defamed or cheated or cursed or disturbed or neglected or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves or revenge. So I have given examples. These Tiraskrita defamed. Devyani and Sarmisha, they were friends. Devyani was Shukracharya's daughter, Brahmani. Sarmisha was Kshatriya king Vrishaparva's daughter. They both were once taking bath in the river and splashing water, playing. And when Kshatriya's daughter, Sarmisha, came out of the water, she took the clothes of Devyani by mistake, who was a Brahmani. And that Brahmani girl, Devyani, saw that. She immediately shouted, "You Sarmishta, do you have common sense? Like a dog coming into the home of a Brahman and taking away the clarified butter kept for sacrifice, you have taken away my clothes." Like that she gave an example. It's a very loaded example because she said, you Kshatriyas are like dogs and you are supposed to be at the door and protect we Brahmanas. That's the meaning. Sometimes the sarcastic statements are very painful. Somebody speaks. Isn't it? Like one person came to the prasad hall and saw that there was this much benti sabji. So he just turned the bucket like this and put in his plate. One palm full. Other fellow came running. By the time this fellow had already served and started eating. So, and that fellow came and asked him, "Hey, what is this? I heard that half bucket Bendi sabji was there, you finished all of it? Neither he was asking. So this fellow was saying, not half bucket, full bucket was there. So who is sarcastic? Who is sarcastic? Both are sarcastic. Sarcastic speech is very, very painful. Huh? It's like sharply it goes like that. So when she spoke like this, she became very angry. Because she is a Brahman girl, she has a sharp tongue. Brahmanas have tongue sharp. And Kshatriyas have. So what Sarmishta did, you are talking about us like this, Kshatriyas, she picked her up and put her in a dry well. Because Kshatrani is the daughter of a Kshatriya, so she showed her Bahubal. She picked up and put her. So many times we should know that our tongue has no bones. Huh? But it can speak something by which all our bones can be broken. Huh? Isn't it? We have to be very careful what we speak to others, especially speaking bad words to others. Huh? So in this case, both were actually taking revenge towards one another. Huh? So similarly, you would say on the other hand, Shiva, he was sitting in meditation. When Daksha Prajapati came into the hall, everybody got up, Shiva didn't get up, Brahma didn't get up. Brahma was his father, no need to get up for the father. And Shiva is actually a Vaishnavana Metashambhu, great soul. He's meditating on Vasudeva. If he didn't get up also, it's all right. But this fellow took a very big offense. He blasphemed very badly, Daksha Prajapati. Shiva didn't do anything. Shiva got up, plugging his ears, he left that place. So it shows very great tolerance. Now we will not take the other examples. We won't have time. We'll directly come to this. Okay, what do we do in real life situation? See, when we are subject to such situation, in personal affairs, according to Shastra, we should not care. His Holiness Badrinaran Maharaj was telling one example. There was a brother and sister. The sister, in some fight, she slapped the brother. And there was one decayed tooth which fell off. And both were okay. Because brother also thought, I wanted to remove it, I have to go to doctor. She only removed it now. Slapping it. It was all right. So, but actually, you will see that sometimes you give a reactive response, it may not be taken always well by people. In personal affairs, we have to, like somebody tells you that you are insignificant. We become very angry. Who said I am insignificant? But actually soul is only balagra shatabhagasya. It is 1/10,000th of the tip of the hair. Are we small or are we big? So if somebody says you are small, they are telling the truth only. Why worry too much about it? Who said I am small? Like you can see small boys. If some boy is like 7 or 8 years old, you ask him, how old are you? I am 10, he will say. You seen that? Similarly, somebody is 30. You ask him, how old are you? I am 25, he will say. Because the 8-year-old boy wants to say, I am not a chotu, I am not small, I am great. And that boy who is 30, crossing 30, he doesn't want to be seen as an old fellow. He says, I am 25. Everybody wants to be young. You have seen that? So the ego problem is always there amongst people. So I saw one t-shirt, one boy was wearing a t-shirt, live echo, leave ego. He had put a slogan in that. Very nice slogan it is. People like to live in eco-friendly environment for a healthy body, but we also need a ego-free dealings with one another in order for us to be peaceful. So in personal affairs, don't take offense if somebody says something also. If somebody is offending Lord or the devotees, then we have to take a strong action. So, and also, one of the reasons why we don't retaliate, I will tell you. You see, if you really want to advance in spiritual life, you should not bother about every small, trivial things that people bring to you. We should learn the art of ignoring them. Like there's a saying in English, the caravan passes, the dogs bark and the caravan passes. You don't bother about, too many things, too much about what others say. You keep away from people who are critical. Associate with those who are uplifting and go on with life. Like one time regarding Gandhi, there was an article in paper written by some politician. So he wrote ill about Gandhi. Immediately Gandhi's people came running to him and said, see, this fellow has written about you. Can we also write another article against him? So Gandhi said, if you buy a new shoe, the shoe bites you. Will you bite the shoe? If you bite the shoe, your mouth will be spoiled. If you also do the same thing what that fellow is doing, how are you different from him? Like that he asked. So therefore, if you want to show you are exalted, you can show your exalted position by forgiving that person. Okay, now how to forgive? There are various ways we can forgive. I'll tell you some things. One of the ways we can forgive is, that person is conducted by Rajoguna and Tamaguna, temporarily. Sometimes in Sattva-guna, you can be very good friends with your other people. Sometimes either you go to Rajoguna or they go to Rajoguna, you unnecessarily become angry with others. You have experience of that? And that can be seen as a temporary behavior, circumstantial behavior. And you just ignore it. Okay, today my friend is not in a good mood. I will talk after a couple of days. And then after a couple of days, they themselves will come and say sorry to you. So you don't have to break the relationship. So this is one way you can tackle it. Another way, our Shastras say that in this world everybody is, what do you call it, controlled by the 4 defects. You all know that. Inability, insanity, errors, cheating. These 4 types of defects are there in every living entity. Inability, they have inabilities. They tend to forget things. They tend to, similarly, inability. Insanity means they are subject to illusion. Illusion means what? You see something with eyes and they judge you. Like there was one boy in one of our student centers. He got a back pain. So doctor told him that for 3 months you should not bend. But then we have to do vanchakalpatarubhesha obeisances. How will he bend? But doctor told him, no. You should only stand. You cannot bend down. So he went and told the senior brahmachari, Prabhuji, doctor is telling me, when devotees offer me obeisances, how can I return? The devotee said, no, you should follow what doctor says, so that your back pain will be gone. So he followed that. So when he went to his center, the other boys saw that we are offering obeisances and he is not returning. And they didn't ask him also. They started talking, like that they started talking amongst themselves. Then every day they saw he's not offering obeisances at all. They thought that nowadays he has become very proud of his seniority. They thought like that. Then when brahmachari came, when brahmachari offered obeisances to them, everybody returned and this fellow was standing. Then those 2 boys went to brahmachari and said, Prabhu, we want to remove this fellow from our center. He has become too proud. Then brahmachari said, what are you talking? He has a back pain problem, which they were not aware of. Later on they ran to him and said, sorry. So many times we judge based on our superficial observation without understanding the real matter. So therefore, by judging judgmental behavior, we develop envy, anger, hatred, so many things. Generally, if somebody pampers our ego, we consider them friend. Just like Karna. Duryodhana put a crown and said, you are Angadeshka Raja. Immediately Karna said, you are my best friend. Because he pampered me, like that. And Ravana thought that all ministers are agreeing that my bringing Sita to Lanka is a very good idea. Everybody is saying Sabash. Because they were all yes men, nodded their head. But one person is opposing. Who is that? He is my enemy because he is opposing. He is not pampering me, he is my enemy. See, this is the way people consider somebody to be friend or enemy in this world. If you pamper my senses, you are my friend. If you don't if you don't agree with me, you are my enemy. So therefore you will see that we have to check somebody's behavior. Why? Say somebody gave you feedback. Some people cannot take feedback. Once a person gives feedback, he becomes your enemy. He gave me feedback. I think he's envious of me. Like that mind says. He may be your well-wisher. Now Vibhishan is giving feedback to Ravana for his good. He told Ravana, you are tying fire around your belly. You will be destroyed. Give back Sita to Ram. It's a correct advice he gave. So somebody is giving feedback for our good, we should accept without becoming unduly angry. See, okay, how to forgive? See, when you become angry, first recognize that you are angry and find out the source. Okay, here you see, there is an activating agent. Say somebody said something about you, that is activating agent. And you have your own belief system. And there is consequences. For example, I'll show you one example, I'll show you. Okay, here is activating agent. Your friend told that you are not smart and you are slow in doing job. Say one of your friends told you. And what is your belief system? You think I am very smart. This person doesn't know who I am. I am really smart, I am really fast. He doesn't know the full picture. He is calling me that I'm not smart, so you are angry now. Look at this fellow, how he is. You're angry now. This is a belief system. And see what happens. Emotional consequences, you feel very hurt by your friend. All this is happening where? In the mind. Now, consequential behavior, you have to yell now, see? Yes. One day, next day he comes, he says, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. He says, what Hare Krishna? And then you start yelling at him like this. I know what you spoke about me. Then that is consequential behavior, you see? Yeah. So what to do? 3 ways. You can express your anger to him, is it correct? See, if you express anger, he gets hurt. If you suppress anger, you hurt yourself inside. You see? You get some relief, but it is temporary. Because when you become angry extremely, Krodha samskaras come to us. Later on, it will again, second wave will come. You know second wave? Again and again, it goes, it comes. Again, it goes, comes like that. It becomes a habit. Okay, if you suppress, what happens? It goes inside and becomes hatred. This is how suppressed anger becomes hatred. Very dangerous it is. It creates a complex psychology inside. And what to do? Right way is to take a mature step. The mature way is forgiveness. Don't express, don't suppress, cultivate forgiveness. And for cultivating forgiveness, we call it as a tolerance with wisdom. I'll tell you an example. See, in America, you don't get servant maid very easily. I know, you know very well, correct, no? It's a very costly affair. Nobody has servant maid. Most people, everybody has to handle the dustbin, everything. They only do it. But let us assume that you needed a servant maid. A lady is delivering a child now. She needs a servant maid. They give her very heavy money and you got a servant maid. Servant maid may commit some mistake, but you tolerate. Why you tolerate? Anybody? If you yell at her, she will go away. She will go for another job, correct, no? That's why there are many reasons why you will tolerate with wisdom. One of the wisdom item is, you foresee the consequences. By yelling at this person, at least I have somebody now. That person also will go away. Better tolerate. That is one reason you tolerate. Another reason you tolerate is, you want relationship with the family members. You don't, like for example, your husband is the wife is asking husband, did you bring that morning I told you? Husband says, what? You never told me anything. She said, I told you, you were already on the phone. Therefore, I told you, keep the phone down and listen to me. You didn't listen. She says, but husband says, no. Even if I am on phone, I can do multiprocessing, multiple things. I never miss and you never told me, he says. So this is an unending fight. Long time it will go. One of the two has to surrender now. If husband says, maybe you told me, I don't know. She will say, now you have come to that. Now you admitted. And then one of the two surrenders. So now why the husband surrenders now? Because his life has to go on. Correct, no? Otherwise you won't get prasad. Isn't it? So therefore you tolerate, because you want the relationship to continue. You want relationship to become better or bitter? Better, yeah. So therefore you surrender. After surrendering, after she cools down, you can say, actually you didn't tell me. But I wanted to cool you down. At that time she will also laugh it off. But when a person is ego-driven, my Lord, then it's like either you do Rudra Tandava or she will do Bhadrakalai Tandava. So in this way, we can tolerate with wisdom. One of the wisdom aspects I told you is foresee the consequences. Another reason I told you is you want to continue the relationship. There is no point in proving. You want to prove or improve? Yeah. But most people want to? Both parties want to prove. And therefore there's problem. Improve means what? Okay, maybe you told me I didn't listen. It's like giving a benefit of doubt. If you give a benefit of doubt, you are actually victorious. One good news for all of you, if you are tolerant, God is on your side. You see, Prahalad and Hiranyakashipu, Lord was on whose side? Ambarish and Dhruva, Lord was on whose side? Pandavas and Kauravas, Lord was on whose side? So anybody who is willing to be humble and tolerant, Lord will be on their side. And that is another reason why we should be tolerant. Like Shiva and Daksha, Lord was on whose side? Shiva's side. You will see that. So those who are tolerant are considered more intelligent. My spiritual master once told a statement. Sometimes he said, it is better to lose first and win forever than win first and lose forever. I was wondering, what is this statement? When I first met him in 91, 92, I was actually coming from a Shaivite family. So we used to put this bhasma on the forehead. I'm so coming from South India, chanting the Yajurveda, Rudram, Chamakam and all that. So at that time I had not started wearing tilak. I still went like this to Maharaj's room. So I went to his room and said, Maharaj, I was planning to dedicate my life as a brahmachari. But devotees here say that I cannot worship Shiva, I can't chant this Rudram, Chamakam and all. So therefore I am hesitant to join the ashram. So I thought, better check with you. You are the spiritual master here. So can I worship Shiva or not? Maharaj said, oh yes, no problem. He said, really? Can I chant Rudram and Chamakam? Oh yes, he said. There is no issue at all. Then I said, then wonderful, then in 2-3 months I can join. I'm thinking of joining full time. And then when I got up to go, Maharaj called me. You can worship Shiva, you can chant Rudram and Chamakam, but there is no need, he said. What is this no need? Why do you say no need? Then he said, if you water the root of the tree, all the branches and twigs, everything gets nourished. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarutastun Divaistavai. That song says. Vedai Sankapadakrammo Panishadair Gayanti Yam Samagaha Jnanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Navidusura Swaraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namo. So the first line says Yam Brahma Varuna Indra Rudramaruta, all of them. So Maharaj is telling that, see, all the devatas are worshipping Krishna. If you worship Krishna, Shiva worship is included in that. And I immediately agreed to that. Because if you see what he exactly did with me, if you see, he first lost and then he conquered me. You agree? It is better to lose first and win forever. Now he won me forever. Correct? On the other hand, imagine if he won first by saying no, and you would have lost forever. I was already looking for some organization to join at that time, in the early days. I already went to many organizations. When I first came to IIT, I put my luggage in the room and I went behind to one, there was one Chinmaya mission behind. I went there, I go to Ramakrishna mission. Many organizations I've been. So he was very patient in cultivating me. So therefore one should be very, actually there is one saying also, one's greatness must be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. Once my Guru Maharaj made everybody repeat this sentence 3 times. So you will repeat once. One's greatness has to be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. So we were telling provoking situations, he said. Because when they really provoke, it's very difficult to tolerate. This sentence is there in Krishna book. Prabhupada wrote this very famous statement. You all know that when Lord Vishnu was kicked on the chest by Bhrigu Muni, correct now? At the time Vishnu got up from the snake bed and massaged the feet of Bhrigu Muni and said, oh great sage, your feet are so soft like a rose. My heart is hard like a stone. By kicking my heart, you must be feeling pain, let me massage it. Besides that, my heart is like now sanctified, so Lakshmi will be happy to reside in my heart, like that he said. So Bhrigu cried tears, seeing his tolerance. And we are devotees of such a tolerant Lord, so we should cultivate tolerance also. At the same time here, you see, when to tolerate, okay, there are many things said here, I won't be able to cover that. Here he says, see, after all, man's life is momentary, and the consequences of anger are very bad. And to be moved by passion is not manly, but mildness and gentleness. Because as they are more human, that is actually manly. So like this, one should think about our anger. Whenever you are angry, not only it's a present evil, it becomes a habit, it adds fuel to fire, and then like that. So this is the last thing I'm going to say about forgiveness. So we should, austerity of body means offering namaskar, worshipping Guru, parents and all these things, austerity of body, austerity of speech, austerity of mind. So 17 point, 14, 15, 16, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, you can read that. By practicing these austerities, we become very peaceful. And then sometimes somebody is bringing results of our own karma. So we shouldn't become angry. Like for example, your postman may sometimes come and give you an electricity bill or something, big bill. Do you give him a slap? Why are you showing a big bill? Already I'm having trouble with money. Poor fellow, what he can do? He's just giving you what is due for you. Isn't it? Don't become angry on the instrument of your karma. Yeah, one is supposed to be... Yeah. You know that famous verse? Yasma no udvijate loko loka no udvijate chayah harshamarshavayoddvegair mukto yassachame priya. See, yasma no udvijate loko. A person does not trouble anybody in this world. He doesn't injure anyone. And if others injure him, he is tolerant. Yudhishthira Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj were like that. Yeah, the demoniac are always present and they find fault even with saintly persons. So we should practice tapasya and we should be... So when we are instinctively compelled by our natures, this is the way people behave. But however, later on when we go to that person, apologize or beg forgiveness, it keeps heart and mind. So Prabhupada says, he says this, Kshama Rupam Tapasvinaha. Those who are following the penance, we should learn to excuse and go on. Like a cuckoo. Cuckoo has a sweet voice. And the sky's beauty is Chandrama, Purnima. Similarly, for learned people, they should cultivate forgiveness. Forgiven are those who forgive others, it is said. So when should we not tolerate? That is also said here. Okay, one or two examples we'll give quickly and conclude. Like for example, if your family members are going to be attacked by somebody, you should not be tolerant. You have to retaliate back to protect them. You have like Lakshman cut the nose of Shurpanaka because she was about to attack Sita, like that. So anyone can become angry, but we should know when to become angry, how much to become angry, and right time, right purpose, and the right way. That we have to cultivate, he says. So, like our parents may sometimes want a good child not to allow the child to eat something dangerous. Sometimes the teacher may want to rectify the student by correcting the student. Employer may correct the employee. Like that he says. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki. It's a very big topic, but we touched some part of it. Maybe 5 minutes? Can take.
Hare Krishna. So once again, thank you very much for joining us today. As you all know, today is the
See this, thank you very much.
Day.
They're all adjusting.
Today is an auspicious day of Ekadashi, and we all know the benefits that are accrued when you do anything spiritual. So what better than to hear His Grace Radhe Shyam Prabhu on Ekadashi. So let's, with our full hearts, express our gratitude to him by loudly chanting, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So we'll take a couple of questions. Prabhuji has been tirelessly doing a lot of programs for us, so we want him to be, get ready for leaving earlier. So a couple of questions, and then we have a quick thank you note. We wanted to thank a few personalities. So before that, we'll take a few questions. Okay, so, and then after the questions, Prabhuji's agreed he can stay back, and if you have to talk to him personally, he can spend some time. So you'll have to come a little to the front because this wire may not go all the way back. So. As you ask your question, just state your name and anything else you want to share about yourself real quick, and then...
Garuda was also tolerant, correct, no? When Saubharamani asked him that if you come to this Yamuna again, your head will split into 100 pieces. He didn't retaliate back. He thought that Yogi Baba is trying to do some yoga, let him go on. He just forgave him. Very tolerant, yeah. Yes. Go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My name is Ambuj Devedi.
Okay.
And I'm a student here in Dallas.
Okay.
So my question is, in the slide you showed that for success we should give up all quarrels and prepare to go BTG. So what's BTG?
Back to Godhead.
Okay, back to
Yeah,
Godhead.
correct.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, I really like that point. So,
Okay, correct.
like
Yeah.
the points you mentioned regarding all
Yeah.
those things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, if your goal is to go back to Godhead, then you have to give up the quarrel around with people. Imagine, like this, one of the squares is open, and in this hall, if there is a fire from 4 sides, and there is a ladder lying, you put the ladder, and from the hole, you can climb the ladder and go out. Already you put the ladder, you are climbing, and some people are ridiculing you, some are mocking at you, some are angry on you. Will you get down and respond to them, or you will go up? Okay, how many of you will go up? Achha, really, you won't retaliate, right? Similarly, in this world, there is samsara davanala, correct? It's fire. So do you want to get out of the world or stay in the samsara davanala and quarrel with people? So we have the choice. So forget about the dualities, man, apaman, shita, ushna, sukha, dukkha, and just get out of this world, yeah. Yeah.
Prabhu, sometimes it's easy to tolerate, but difficult to apologize. So how can we learn how to apologize?
Yeah, we fear that if I seek apologies, that will make me look weak. Actually, seeking apologies is actually courage. But our mind tricks us. They think that if I admit my fault, then this fellow will make fun out of me, or he'll go and tell others that I surrendered to him. We feel like that. Actually, therefore we have to increase our Krishna consciousness. When we chant the holy name, read the Shastras, when we see multiple examples, everything, we gradually become purified. And, advanced devotees are very humble. Trinada, Peshanichana, Taroripa, Sahishnana, Amanina, Manadhyana, these 4 qualities. When you cultivate these 4 qualities, it's very easy to say sorry. Thank you. One last question we will take.
Do you mind coming a little forward? I'll try to stretch this, but you might have to walk. It's okay, leave it.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My name is Srimati Devidasi. Thank you so much for your class, and it's nice to meet you in person. Always I hear your lectures online. So my question is
people like my lectures because I give very many homely examples I give. People say, oh, you exactly said something, it's happening in our life. Actually, we also need the Shastra to help us to lead a proper life in this world. So I give many colloquial examples I give because they are helpful for us. Please go ahead.
So Prabhuji, you were saying about taking feedbacks. So we don't even realize that these feedbacks, whichever we are taking, that is affecting us and how we are reacting. So how to find out that? How we are reacting to the feedbacks.
Yeah. See, sometimes we even humbly ask feedback from others. But then when they give feedback, we become angry. Then the other person says, you only asked me. I'm giving. Then we say, oh, that is too much, And I have some humility, don't go beyond that. So we have limited humility. So therefore, it is better not to ask feedback. If somebody on their own give, we can accept it. So we can also increase our bandwidth of humility by doing menial services. For example, if I do some menial services in temple, like I wash pots, I sweep the floor, I do background services, that's one thing that increases our humility. Another thing is to assist some devotee in service. Like one Mataji was assisting in the kitchen. My spiritual master was passing by, deity room. He asked her, Mataji, you are cooking for Gopinath? He asked. She said, no, Maharaj, I am only assisting, she said. Maharaj said, don't you think you are even more fortunate? Because assisting devotee is more fortunate than one who is directly serving, he said. So by assisting, we become humble rather than taking lead role. Like somebody is singing in the mic, you play kartal for them, you are assisting them. Or you are playing mridangam for them, for their pleasure. So most people like to lead or assist. Tell me. Lead. When you lead, you become proud. Oh, I am a great leader and everybody is appreciating me. When you assist, it requires a lot of... most people will run away when they have to assist. So if you assist, or if you do menial services, and also have developed deep respect for the guru and seniors, and go and take advice from them, eventually our humility will increase. And with increased humility, we will have an increased bandwidth to take feedback. Advanced devotees are very jolly to take feedback. And when others give feedback, they are very grateful. Oh, thank you so much. Nobody would tell me like this. You are honestly telling me. I will definitely make an effort to improve. Like that, they will take it. All right? Yeah, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki.
So a quick vote of thanks. First of all, we have with us one prominent personality. I think Premchandra Prabhu, your guest is with you. I think Vidyut is here. Okay, so Vigyan Gotewalji is with us. He's from Flower Mound. He's been very helpful to all our devotee community whenever there is a program, like there's a Diwali Mela coming up in the Cowboy Stadium. So every time he helps us with the booth as well as allowing Harinam inside the stadium. So a big round of applause for him. Thank you very much for that. And then, of course, always a special thanks to all the devotees who worked so tirelessly to get this program together. So we have the families of Taujinitai Prabhu, Rajendra Sood Prabhu, Balram Hari Prabhu, Tirupati Prabhu, and then Gaur Gadai at the behind the camera for us. So let's give them a big round of applause, please. Haribol. So with that, we'll conclude the program. Prabhuji will stay back for some more time. And of course, there's Prasadam. So you can always, as I always say, there's a hunger for the soul and hunger for the stomach. So whatever you choose, you can decide the side and do accordingly. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.